sun comes up on America. Across open fields, small towns, and city streets, a new day begins. And here, we rise with it. This is where hard work meets headlines, where truth matters, and America wakes up informed.
An interesting week.
They all are.
This is your country. This is your morning. This is Daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. America, let's do it together.
Love you, Ivy.
Love you too.
And it starts right now.
All right, here we go, diving into it's Friday. And I've needed Friday since Monday, basically. Glad to have you on board as we roll right into this Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Three big things to cover this hour. Number one, Tennessee joins the red wave of redistricting, voting in new congressional maps that will eliminate the seat of Steve Cohen, the only Democrat from the volunteer state. Goodbye. Number two, Marco Rubio has leapfrogged J.D. Vance, now the favorite to win the 2028 Republican nomination for president. He's also leading the field, including Gavin Newsom, according to Kalshi. What do you think? And number three, the U.S. military hit a handful of Iranian targets over the last 24 hours, sending a clear message to Iran. It's time to come to the table. The U.S. says this is not an end to the ceasefire, but a response to unprovoked attacks on U.S. ships over the past couple of days. Also, Iran attacked an oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz, setting it on fire. Honestly, I had to laugh a little bit when I learned the tanker was Chinese. I mean, Iran is they're just going after all their friends, pissing them all off. It's not too much sense to that. So there it is, time to open the phone lines for Free Speech, Free for All Friday, the original conservative TV talk show to take your calls. We've been doing it for years, and we do it for 3 full hours. But, of course, you already know that. We're powered by Patriot Mobile's Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966, 877-310-9966. It's your chance to be heard. And I do this in honor of the one and only Rush Limbaugh, who always took calls on Fridays. Open the door for all of us to do this. The Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. But let me start with this. More evidence that President Trump is not losing any of his support, this time from CNN. Listen.
Compared to other midterm cycles, he's just as popular with Republicans as he has ever been at this point in midterm cycles. Right now, nationally, we're talking about an approval rating on average of 84%. In 2022, his popularity rating was 76%, actually lower, right, when he wasn't in the presidency. In 2018, the last time he was president, 85%. That 85 looks a whole heck of a lot like this 84% right here. The bottom line is this: Donald Trump still absolutely has juice with Republican voters. You saw it in Indiana, and I think that you'll see it down the line as well if any Republicans try and go against the President of the United States, who is still very much beloved by Republican voters nationwide.
He's got the juice, so says Chicken Noodle News. Look, I don't run into Trump voters that say, yeah, I sure wish we had voted for Kamala. I don't run into that. Maybe you do. I don't. Not met one yet in all this time. Anyhow, time to go to the phone lines, 877-310-9966. We're going to start with Peter in upstate New York. Peter, you lead us off today.
Good morning, Steve and Ivy.
How are you?
Look, I heard you, Steve, remarking about the reaction of gas prices to the reduction of oil prices.
Yep.
And the fact that they were moving in the opposite direction.
Yep.
Well, the same speculators that drive up the price of oil can drive up the price of gas on the futures market, and they're doing just that. Speculators that have money and hedge funds that have big funds in commodities, they're doing that. One other thing.
Hold on. What are you paying in New York? What's your price near your house?
Well, right now, my gas station was $4.55 this morning.
All right, so that's about where we were yesterday. Michigan was at $4.58 when I drove by. I saw one station. I didn't do a survey, just one station I saw. Anyhow, go ahead. What's your next point?
Well, you got to realize that the media and those that benefit from this are going to keep pushing that we're going to have high gas prices for the next year.
Well, hold on, Peter.
Another conversation.
Hot off the press right here, Peter. I want you to hear this, and everybody else too. Shell tops profit estimates as the Iran war boosts oil prices and cuts share buybacks. So they're going to post earnings of just about $7 billion, $900 million more than anticipated. Just Like I told you, folks are going to post record profits. Go ahead, Peter.
What a coincidence!
Yeah,
right?
what a coincidence.
Look, I have two predictions.
All right.
And it seems that somebody has jumped ahead of me and has made it public. Number one, I predicted and called that our friend Brian Glenn would not be with Rav for much longer.
That's true. He's leaving today. Today is
I said
Brian Glenn's last day.
Too much fruit in his diet.
Yeah. What's
Too
your
much fruit?
Yeah. What's your other prediction?
Georgia peach. And the other one was that JD is not going to be the VP choice, the presidential choice in 28, because he went to the Pentagon and started asking around about America's inventory of munitions.
Yep.
Why do that knowing that there are leaks in the Pentagon? He should have gone right to the president and asked him, and that would have kept it secret.
Peter, good call.
But,
Greatly appreciate it, my friend. Good stuff.
And now everybody's talking about the possibility of being low in munitions.
Yeah, Marco Rubio has proven himself to be very skilled as Secretary of State. He's been front and center, unapologetic, America first, carrying that banner everywhere. So Marco Rubio's moved to the top. Peter, good call. 458 here in Michigan, 455, he said there in Florida. All right, Maria is in New York. Maria is in Florida. Good morning.
Hello?
Maria, you got to turn that TV down real quick so we can hear you well, all right? It's
Yes, sir.
It's a pro tip for everybody. Turn your TV down when you get on the phone line, because there's a little bit of a delay there. It can be confusing.
Can
Go
you
ahead.
hear better now?
I can hear you perfectly.
Hi, Steve. This is Miss Catania Maria from Keep America Heard. I have problems. I'm being threatened. I have two mayors in Florida that I protected, and they refuse to remove a psychiatric patient that's my neighbor that's trying to kill me.
Wow.
And it's been horrible. I've been under police protection since April 12th of 2024 by the Coconut Creek PD. They are excellent at security and keeping me protected. It's an ongoing situation, and it's horrible for me. I've lost my savings account, everything. I live like a prisoner in my own condominium in Coconut Creek at Wynmoor.
Why won't they do something about it? What's up, Maria?
You have to ask Mark Bogan. He's the Broward mayor, and Jackie Riley is the Coconut Creek mayor. I stood up for these people at a meeting on March 26th of 2024. They asked me to speak on their behalf. I'm a TSA cleared security officer for the state of Florida, and I can't even get a medical clearance to go back to work. They refuse to remove this lady. We're trying to catch her with the helicopters. She's got a handgun, and she's a psychiatric patient living in public society. And by the way, I'm so happy for you and Ivy for your daybreak show, because I was a true champion for you guys to be on for 2 hours a day.
Maria,
thank
you.
God you're on.
Got to bounce. Greatly appreciate it. I hope that works out for you. I can't help you. I've got security here. It's Anthony. Don't mess around. That's all we say here. Anthony, he goes to the gym. He lifts small cars for sport. 877-310-9966. He does. You think you should see this guy. We're going to put a camera in there. Yeah. Then you'll see Anthony flexing.
Put a bench press in here as well.
Yeah, put a bench press. Yeah, attaboy. All right, we got a whole line of calls now. 877-310-9966. The original. We've been doing this for years. Some guy claimed that nobody does this. I do this every Friday, as you know. I'll be right back. All right, let's get back to it. It's Friday. Look, it's been a long week. They're all kind of long, and I love this part of the conversation. We get to share it with you on Fridays. We've done it for years and years, and I hear people out there, this never gets done on conservative television. Really? Need to get up early and get it done like Alan in Kansas. Welcome to the program.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. I hope I find you in good health.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir.
With the Supreme Court decision on congressional districts and people arguing against that, I'm reminded that words matter.
Yeah.
And they're sounding like segregationists. They want more segregated districts.
The Democrats do. Absolutely do.
Yes.
Because what they do is they create bunker districts that are, can't be won by a Republican because they do them in such a way and draw it by race, not by community and demographics and so forth. They do it in a different way, which is illegal. And you may have seen it yesterday. In Tennessee, they went crazy. The Democrats did again. And they passed a new map adding another Republican seat. Go ahead.
Well, and then I'm trying to remember, if I remember this correctly, Governor Wallace in Arkansas, I believe he said segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever.
He did say that. He was not. He was from. Where was Wallace from? That's not where he was from. Alabama. Yeah. He won 8 states.
Alabama. Okay.
He won 8 states in 1968. Don't forget, Governor Wallace was a Democrat. Of course he was, because that's the way it
and I
rolls.
remember that had to do with the integration of a school.
Yeah, it did. Well, it goes back to 1957. Great call, Alan. Thank you for it. President Eisenhower sent in the National Guard 1957, because the other thing that they forget in their history classes, it was Eisenhower that started us down the road to equal rights in a serious fashion. He sent in the National Guard to Little Rock, Arkansas in 1957 to desegregate the schools, and the governor in that state stood in the doorway saying no. And the National Guard said, yeah, we're coming in. And they did. Nine black students came into that school and desegregated Little Rock, Arkansas in 1957. There's your history lesson. Laura, Miami Beach, welcome to the program. How's Miami Beach today?
It's awesome, Steve. It's great to talk to you. I just wanted to go back on Tuesday's show. Okay, this has been eating me up. You had this old man on there who was spewing stuff about Donald Trump, that he wanted him to die, he wanted to watch him die, and all this stuff.
To be clear,
and
you're right.
It infuriated me.
Hold on, I did, and I played a soundbite. I didn't have a guest that did that because it would never be on here.
Soundbite.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. And this man infuriated me. Okay, and then at the end, and then you played some woman spewing all kinds of nasty stuff. And I don't know how these people live with themselves, but at the end of the thing, you had made a comment about how it's coming to a point where nobody can walk down the street wearing a red hat. Okay, and that's just so true, because I have a lot of gear, a lot of Trump gear, a lot of Charlie Kirk gear. My husband doesn't even want me to leave, and we're in a red state.
Yeah, I know, it's scary.
Okay, but I'm in a blue district.
Yeah, well,
and I'm in a blue district, though.
When you sit there and pound the pulpit or the lectern and continue to say Donald Trump is Hitler, Donald Trump is the Antichrist,
right.
Donald Trump is... What do you think the reaction is going to be? These people are careless, reckless, and dangerous.
Hatred incites hatred. Right.
Yeah.
Hatred incites hatred and incites violence.
Amen to that. Well, keep safe.
That's pretty
there.
much my point. That's pretty much my point.
And thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. Look, the reason I did the show on Tuesday the way I did, I think that it's important from time to time to explain to you very clearly what you're dealing with. And it doesn't matter if you're in a deep, dark red state. There are still going to be elements of this insanity floating around out there. In fact, it might be more agitated in a red state than it is in a blue state, potentially because they feel like they're up against it or they're against the odds or whatever. Be careful out there. And I did say somebody's going to get shot just for wearing a red hat. It's sad, but it's going to happen. That's the state of play today. Be careful out there. Let's go to the state of Texas. Chuck is on the line. Chuck, how are you?
Hey, I go by Jolly.
All right.
But that's what people call me. Back in the fall of 2015, I was a student at West Texas A&M, one of the most conservative campuses in the country, and I was the only person on campus wearing Trump gear. But anyways, on the census, are you a U.S. citizen? Of course, that question should be on the census. But another thing I would add is on any government application, any government job application, whether it's local, state, county, federal, or any government contract application, the first question should be, do you believe the United States is on stolen land? If you answer yes, then you're trying to get a job or a contract from a government you believe is illegitimate.
Yeah. Chuck, thank you for the call. It's a great point you make, and here's why. It's not stolen. The land was purchased, and there's some things that went on that were inappropriate. No question about that. You know, the Indian Removal Act of 1831, 1830, whatever it was, Andrew Jackson, that's a stain on America. But the truth of the matter is the Louisiana Purchase was a purchase. The Gadsden Purchase was a purchase. Texas joined us in 1845, excuse me. My memory's a little shot. 1845, Texas joined us. And you can go on down the list. We purchased Alaska, the Louisiana Purchase. When Mexico lost the war to us in 1846, we won again. We took more land because that was part of the treaty that brought peace and the end of the war. We didn't steal the land. And in fact, some would argue that our Native American friends have been paid ever since, and they have. They're on the payroll of the American government, have been every step of the way, ever since the reservation system was put in. Look, a lot of things to discuss here, but I would suggest you read a book, Not Stolen, by Jeff Finn Paul, an actual historian who does some deep dives into South America, Central America, North America, and the facts of what really happened. It's a great read. Not Stolen. Educate yourself so you're not defenseless against these strange attacks. I'll be back with more calls. Let's keep at it on the phone lines on this Free Speech Free for All Friday. We are the original, make no mistake. Braden is in North Carolina. Braden, good morning.
Hey, Steve, can you hear me?
Clear as a bell. What do you got?
Hey, more than anything, I've noticed the trend here that people keep blaming certain conflicts that are happening with the rise of gas prices, but oil prices were similar about a decade ago. But gas prices and diesel prices were significantly lower than they are now. And I studied economics. I've taken some classes in that. But this looks more like price gouging and hyperinflation than anything else to me.
Sure does.
I'd love to hear your take on it.
Well, I agree with you. I think that it's manipulation, as I just said here. Braden, thank you for the call. What I just said here, and it just came across this morning, Shell posting profits $900 million higher than expected. What a surprise. Yeah, $7 billion just for the first 3 months of the year is Shell's profit. Not their operating income, not their expenses, their profit. Bottom line. There it is, $7 billion. Keep that in mind. Anthony was asking me here just a short while ago about this hantavirus on the cruise ships. and how frightening it is. You know, these people, I think 3 have died. 3 more are very critical from the hantavirus. If you had been prepared on that ship, you'd have been in better shape. What do I mean by that? I mean the wellness company. They've got these great kits, these emergency kits. They've got travel kits. They've got the contagion kit. It's the black box. This is the original right here in my hand. It's called the medical emergency kit. Antibiotics, antivirals, antiparasitics, all right here. And a lot more, too, and a book that'll tell you how to use everything in this kit. The contagion kit, the black box, would have been perfect if somebody on that ship had that, they'd have had antivirals right with them and not locked in their cabins and freaking out. If you don't have one of these, I think you're missing out. Go to twc.health/Gruber. twc.health/Gruber. There are a whole host of kits. This is the gold standard to travel. All right, these are the gold standard. We have them right in the house in case of emergency because you just never know. And for the record, I'll never be on a cruise ship. twc.health/Gruber. Get your emergency kit today. Don't get caught thinking, man, I should have done that. I should have listened to Gruber. Yeah, you should have. More calls on Free for All Friday after this. All right, free speech, free for all Friday to honor the great Rush Limbaugh. You know, he made this possible. Let's go straight to the phones. Charles is in Alabama. Charles, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. How you doing?
I'm lovely. And yourself?
I'm doing fairly well this morning. Do you mind if we change the subject a little bit?
You can talk about anything you want as long as you keep it clean.
Oh, yes, sir, it will be. I would like to see if y'all can shed some light on the Camp Lejeune toxic water lawsuit and how the DOJ and the Navy is delay and stall in every turn they take.
I can cover that topic quite well. We studied PFAS here going back 10 years now. Had a whistleblower on this program talking about the military bases in America being toxic from PFAS. It was in the aqueous firefighting foam that was used to put out fires in the military. It still is, by the way. But this foam has PFAS in it, these forever chemicals. And they are toxic. They create cancers. They create problems with reproductive systems. There were women at a military camp where they grew up in Michigan that were having complete hysterectomies at the age of 18 because of the problems. And Camp Lejeune is the single most contaminated piece of real estate in America, I believe. Go on.
Yes, I mean, there's over 400,000 claims in, and
Right.
they don't count the family members and everybody else that suffered from it.
Well,
So there's a lot of angry voters that's getting pretty fed up with it. I'm afraid if they don't do something pretty quick, it's going to make a reflect on midterms.
Well, I don't know how you would blame the Republicans for that. The problem has been going on for years and years, and here's the issue. When I had that gentleman on my program who had done detailed studies in Michigan on military facilities here, he said the problem with the government in this particular case is they don't have the money. It would take tens of billions, maybe hundreds of billions of dollars to clean up these places. And then if you pay out to litigants, there's not enough money in the entire U.S. government to pay it out. There's the problem. Charles, they're jammed. They use these chemicals made by 3M and others, and I'm not blaming them or singling out 3M, but they were one of the companies that made these products, and they can't afford it. They can't afford to pay the litigants. They can't afford to pay for the cleanup because the cleanup takes the PFAS. These chemicals are different. They don't just clean up like an oil spill. Totally different process. Very complicated. Although I have seen some advancements recently where they might be able to figure out magnetism might actually be a way they can clean the soil. But you're right, Charles. It's a problem. And it's a problem for a lot of people. And we've talked about it here for years.
I lost both my parents. My dad passed away in 2011 and my mother in 2014 from cancer. And it was linked to everything in the water at Camp Lejeune.
Yep, that makes sense. I appreciate the call. It is an incredibly important topic. It really is. And you look at all the military installations across this country or people that served on battleships and aircraft carriers where this chemical, because if it's on these ships, because if there's a fire at sea, this AFFF will really put out the fire fast. That's really important. The problem is exposure to it creates cancers like your parents, and I'm really sorry that happened to you, but it's an important topic. Thank you for that. Let's go to Brenda. She's in Spokane, Washington today on the West Coast. Brenda, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm lovely. How are you?
I'm great. Anyway, I wanted to ask you about these illegal semi-drivers and why can they not do anything about these companies that are hiring them?
Well, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has done something about it. They've taken away thousands of driver's licenses from people who can't read or speak English or understand the road signs. What happened here, and this is another great question. I really appreciate you guys today. Here's what happened. These driver schools set themselves up, and then the government under the last administration, not this one, allowed these driving schools to basically police themselves, set their own standards, decide whether or not they were meeting the standard, and then allowed them to self-regulate and then hand out driver's licenses. We've seen the result. I mean, I'm never going to forget seeing that crash. I think it was in Florida where that minivan went under the 18-wheeler because it was pulling a U-turn on an interstate. If you can't read English, you can't get a license. You're exactly right, Brenda. This is outrageous. Sean Duffy is doing something about it. But I think the problem is systemic.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, you've got California, Illinois, New York, even Michigan where I live. They were giving licenses to people who were not qualified by any stretch. You and I couldn't get a license under that scenario down at the DMV. And they're giving these people 80,000-pound missiles to drive down the road. Brenda, thank you for the call.
Yeah. And may I ask you one more thing?
Sure, go ahead.
About this, I don't know if you've heard about it. I'm sure you have. About these farmers with the people planting lime sticks at their farms.
All right, so thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to ask you guys. I've seen these videos. I don't know what to make of them. But I'm seeing these so-called tick boxes where these farmers and ranchers are walking across their properties or finding on their property these brown boxes that are inundated, loaded with thousands of ticks. I don't know if it's real. I don't know what it is. So I'm going to rely on you. Does anybody know anybody who's found such a thing that can, verify that this is actually happening, or is it just some sort of a hoax? I don't know. But I know that Bill Gates has a vaccine for Lyme disease he's putting out on the market. Bill Gates also wants to sell you meat that isn't meat, and some of these illnesses will give you an allergic reaction to meat so that you can't eat it. You become allergic to eating red meat. I don't know. I need you guys to help me out. Are these things really happening? That's a great call, Brenda. Thank you. Let's go to Joe in San Antonio, Texas. Joe, how are you?
Good morning, Steve. I want to thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
And I wanted to make you aware of something.
All right.
John Cornyn
Yep.
is a senior senator, and he has a phone town hall, and I did not make it. It wasn't in my schedule, so I contacted John, and I mentioned to him that we need to pass the SAFE Act, and I also wanted him to take special attention to the Congressional slush fund for
sexual impropriety. I agree with that. Yeah, we have no business paying for these people to do those things. I don't know what John Cornyn is in it to win that race. Cornyn has a lot more money, and money plays pretty big in politics. So we'll keep an eye on it, Joe. I really appreciate the call. All right, one more call we can get in here. Ginger from Tennessee. Ginger, how are you today?
I'm fine.
All right, go.
Okay. And I wanted to thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
I love to watch your show. And what I was thinking of, there's no taxes on Social Security and no taxes on your tips and all that stuff. And I think that's great. I really like that. But it says no tax on Social Security is good, doesn't help people that are not working and are not filing taxes and are on Social Security. Is there anything to be done to help these people?
Well, if they're not working, how old are they? That'd be my question.
Like in 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s.
All right, I got to hold that thought there because I got to hit a break here. I'm going to look into that, Ginger, and see what we can come up with. I appreciate the calls on this Free Speech Free for All Friday. I'm up against a break. Back after this. All right, so I got 2 emails yesterday, ironically. I get a lot of emails every day. I try to read them all. I respond to the ones that I can. And 2 of them yesterday said, hey, have you ever heard of this Susan Kokinda? She's really interesting at Promethean Action. I said, I have heard of her. She's been on the program, and she's been on the Forgotten America podcast, which I'll tell you how to find here in a minute. And she joins me now. Susan Kokinda of Promethean Action has become, I don't know, you've really drawn a big following. You're an author and organizer, and Promethean Action on X gets a lot of action, Susan. So congratulations on becoming a voice out there in the wilderness, because you've done a great job.
Well, thank you. My motto is kind of keep calm. Donald Trump knows what he's doing.
Yeah, you know what? I'm okay with that. And I just saw the numbers from CNN. MAGA is dead. No, it's not. And in fact, if it's anything, it's growing according to CNN, not according to me. So there you go. I want to talk about Canada for a minute. In Alberta this week, they got the signatures needed to have a vote to leave the country, which is legal in Canada. And the premier up there in Alberta says that she's going to hold a vote maybe as early as October. And this is all a result of Marxist Carney. That's what I like to call him now, because that's what he is. He's a globalist. Mark Carney is a globalist. He's a disaster for Canada. And what do you make of that? Is Alberta, I mean, the numbers don't say that they're going to leave, but I think that there's going to be enthusiasm now that they've gotten the signatures, 300,000 plus. They only need 180,000. What do you think?
Well, I think there is a lot of enthusiasm up there. I don't know how smooth sailing it's going to be, because I don't think the people who run Canada, which are not really Canadians, are going to let the Albertans go easily. So I'm sure there's going to be a big propaganda campaign, and who knows what will happen if the vote actually passes. But I think it's a reflection of what we've seen here in the United States, where at a certain point people say, no, I'm not going to live the way that I've been living in recent decades. There's something wrong with what is running my country. And that's why we put Donald Trump in.
Yeah,
place.
I agree with that. I don't know if Alberta's going to leave either, but I can tell you if they do, Quebec will follow almost immediately, and that will be the end of Canada. It'll end up being about 4 rump states, if you will. You'll end up with the West Coast, the Prairie provinces, Manitoba and Saskatchewan will join Alberta, mark my words. Now, they might be an independent country. They might have some association with the United States. Then you'll have Quebec, and then you'll have all the rest to the east. Mark Carney is a disaster for Canada. In fact, he just brought in a guy, another globalist, a Soros globalist, to kind of do the same game they ran on Donald Trump the first time around, didn't they?
Well, he, by the way, I call him Mark Carnage. So
okay,
you can,
Marxist Carnage. We'll bring them together. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, he just appointed a woman as Governor General of Canada, Louise Arbour. And there's 2 really important things about that, because I think they show you who Carney really serves. I'm sure a lot of your viewers know he's sort of the central banker's central banker. He's the only person who's ever been the head of the Bank of Canada, and then as a non-British citizen became the head of the Bank of England, which is a pretty big deal in the imperial edifice.
In the structure.
Yeah. Because that when you look at the City of London, when you look at the kind of financial control that comes out of there, even things like Lloyd's of London, which until the current excursion in the Gulf was running all of our shipping insurance, and now the United States has basically busted that monopoly. It really is the heart of things. And Carney was sent in not just to manage Canada, but I think he was sent in to begin to become the voice of what I call globalism 2.0. Because if you look at the elites, Chatham House and others, they're all admitting the post-war order, where the United States was our dumb giant and we got them to do what we wanted, which is why we didn't need a military or an economy or anything else. Under Donald Trump, that's over. They're admitting it. So they have to recalibrate. And Carney is the international figure who's being brought in to recalibrate. So he did 2 things this week, and I think they're related. He went over to Armenia and addressed a major conference of 40, 50 nations, including all the has-beens from Europe with Keir Starmer and Macron and von der Leyen. And he basically said the post-war order is over. We need a new rules-based order, but it's going to be European-centered without the United States, because obviously we're not going along with this stuff anymore. So he basically outlined what the mission was. Then he came back to Canada and kind of drew back the curtain in terms of what the real power structures are, because he appointed a new governor general. Now, a lot of people think this is ceremonial, but he was very blunt. In his speech introducing this woman, Louise Arbour, he made clear she's the commander-in-chief of the military. She serves the king, who still is the sovereign in Canada. She can dismiss the government if she wants to. So he kind of said, all right, there's no point hiding this any longer. You know, this is who actually runs things. And then who is she? So I think part of her assignment is going to be the little problem they have south of the border, which is called Donald Trump. She served on the UN international, one of the international criminal tribunals, the first tribunal to charge and try a sitting head of state, Milosevic from Yugoslavia. But here's the key. From that position, she was one of the major propagandists pushing for the creation of a permanent international criminal court.
Of course.
And that international criminal court was assisted, aided, financed, and helped staff by George Soros.
Of course it was. You know, because here's what it circles back to me, when you say that. And this is just the beginning, folks, and we're going to tell you how to find Susan so you can get the whole story. Donald Trump was a war criminal. Benjamin Netanyahu's a war criminal. Whoever they want to point at so they can drag him in front of an international court outside the jurisdiction of the United States, which we should never allow, ever. And try to put Americans on trial and other people on trial. Susan, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I know that. So tell the folks where they can find you on X, because there is so much material. Go ahead.
You can find me personally at SJ Kokinda. Promethean Action has got its own X account, and our main platform is our website, prometheanaction.com, which hosts all of our videos and discussions.
All right. I'm going to tell you after the Susan, thank you for being here today, because I'm going to tell the folks after the break how to see your podcast with me and Ivy, which is 2 great hours. It is so educational. You've got to hear them. Susan, we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you see how they're stacking the deck, or trying to. I mean, does Europe have the juice, as they say? No, they don't. But they're going to go down kicking and screaming. I'll tell you about the Forgotten America podcast after this. All right, Forgotten America is the podcast that Ivy and I have been doing for quite a while now. A lot of episodes there for you to enjoy, including Susan Kokinda, right? So we're going to tell you how to get that, because this coming Monday on Forgotten America, Ivy and I talked with a former FBI agent, national training director with the United States Concealed Carry Association, Rob Chadwick, about the growing reality of self-reliance in America. From emergency response times, how long does it take the police to get to your house if you call 911? To personal safety and the mindset people need in high-pressure moments. Are Americans quietly becoming their own first line of defense? Yes, we are. It's a fascinating conversation about preparedness, awareness, and the gaps most people never think about until it's an emergency, and it's too late. New episodes drop Monday at 9 a.m. Here's a preview of this one coming up.
For the Second Amendment, which is one of the great gifts that our forefathers bestowed upon us. Simply because that the firearm, Steve and Ivy, really is that one tool that can make such a difference when everything else has failed, right? So we always teach at the USCCA, you mentioned, avoidance, early detection, stay away from, the best fight is the one that you never get into. However, there are those critical situations where there's absolutely nothing that can save you other than extreme force. And most people just aren't trained in combatives, right? They're not physically capable to defend themselves. And so they need some type of a tool. And that tool is the firearm, right? I'm not saying that everyone should carry guns everywhere. That's not what I'm getting at. But the access, the ability to own, responsibly train with, and be proficient with this firearm for that 1 in 1,000 chance that you might need it. There's simply nothing on earth that will replace that.
Nothing on earth that will replace you being your own advocate. Become a subscriber today. It's free on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search Steve Gruber, and Forgotten America will pop up on there. And it's me and Ivy. And you can get Susan Kokinda, Rob Chadwick there. It's a great conversation. Dr. Leonard Sachs from last week talking about parenting and how it's failing in America. And the list goes on and on. These are great conversations. Tell your friends, gather around, and become smarter. Every time I talk to Susan Kokinda, I feel like I got it just a little bit smarter. And you can too. It's the Forgotten America podcast on YouTube. It's the Steve Gruber channel. Go find it. And we'll have more of your calls on Free Speech Free for All Friday in a moment.
A little ironic that
I don't know.
Justin J. Pearson. And
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now on Real America's Voice.
All right, lighting the fuse and ripping into another big hour. Glad to have you here on Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Three big things to get to this hour. Number one, President Trump won another big court challenge. So yes, ICE agents can work wherever they need to, including outside of schools or polling places. It's called law and order. Number two, redistricting swinging to the right hard in favor of the Republicans. Tennessee, the latest to pass new maps, adding another red seat in Congress. More to come, I can tell you. And number three, great news. It's Free Speech, Free for All Friday, the original conservative TV show taking your calls from all over America to say whatever you want as long as you keep it clean. Free Speech, Free for All Friday, powered by the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. It's 877-310-9966. Patriot Mobile, America's only conservative Christian wireless network. And also in the room, to everybody's joy, is Ivy. Ivy, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you here. I hear you have a couple of things you'd like to share with the crowd today.
Yes, well,
they're ready.
Free for All Friday, I like to play for you the most obscene and dumb things I've heard all week. So, Anthony, let's start with bite one.
Ironic that the woman now who is likely going to win the 9th district in Tennessee is a black Republican woman as a result of this redistricting effort. It's likely going to be a black Republican woman who beats that old white man.
Could I make this very simple point?
But that's racist?
We're going to come back.
It actually is.
We're going to take a quick break, and then Tesla and Congressman, I'm going to have you both respond.
I don't know if you actually heard several of the panelists there say, yes, it actually is racist.
Yeah, to have a black woman win in Tennessee. See, that's what they're afraid of. I've been saying this, Ivy. They're not afraid of anything more than a whole bunch of black Republicans in Congress. That's what scares them, because that will...
it's not about race. It's about party over people for them.
That's right. But when they see a bunch of black Republicans in Congress, they know that the sheep that have been following them for decades are going to say, wait a second. Let's consider what they have to say. They look like me, or whatever they're looking for, right? Anyhow.
Yeah, I'm going to move on. Okay, let's go to bite two.
All right.
I don't know what the hell their problem is, because they are just drunk stupid right now. Now, when you sit up there, race is a leading predictor. Y'all don't want to talk about DEI out there. Y'all don't want to talk about race. But everything you do touches on all of that. Everything you're doing touches on all of that. It's hitting black people upside the head. It's hitting brown people upside the head in their communities. So what are we talking about here? And I love what you just said. I mean, you have this legislator saying, well, this is a conservative state, right? We should only have conservatives. Then why the hell y'all out here, B word inserted, about California and New York and other liberal states, other blue states? So why are you so concerned about what they're doing? If, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, we conservative, so we want all conservative. It doesn't matter that we got black and brown, liberals, Democrat, Republican in our state. As long as they're not conservative, they don't get to vote. They don't get the right to have a voice. What the hell are you talking about? Stacey, this breaks down to one simple thing, and you know it, I know it. Everybody now got to get off their ass, I'm sorry, and get busy about the vote. This November, you got to overwhelm the ballot with your vote. If you want to,
you know, that guy used to be the chair of the RNC.
Really?
Michael Steele.
Wow.
Long
I did
time
not know
ago,
that.
for a brief
so
period.
that goes on. I didn't want to take too long because I know we have limited time. But Stacey Abrams goes on to say that there are only now in America today, there are only authoritarian states and democracy states.
Please.
And that conservative states incubate evil, but they farm it out everywhere.
Yeah.
She accuses this regime of wanting Christian nationalism as a law of the land, reducing women to vessels for a man's intention, and advancing white supremacy. Yeah. Oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. I know we were talking about data centers yesterday, and I don't know if you saw this, but Governor DeSantis signed a bill that ensures the local governments maintain the authority to reject data center development in their communities. The bill prevents data centers' costs from being passed on to consumers, including electricity costs. and the bill protects Florida's water resources from data center consumption. So this is the kind of thing that other governors around the country need to emulate to protect your communities. And as we were talking about yesterday, big concerns, but I think that covers a lot of it.
Yeah, I've got it here somewhere that I think it's Wyoming has 7,000. I got to find the headline. All over the state of Wyoming. And all over the
7,000
West.
data centers?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
Some ridiculous amount. Anyhow, let's get back to the phone lines, Ivy, while you're here. Let's go to Danny in Maryland. He's been patiently waiting. Danny, how are you?
I'm all right, Steve. Can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Good morning to you, Ivy.
Good morning.
I got to ask you about that vote with that virus. I think it's a made-up thing. The Democrats are doing anything to get in and destroy Donald Trump. And we're not going to put our mask on. We're not, and I see a lot of that on video. We're not wearing our masks this time.
Yeah.
We're not taking a shot, and you never know what's in the shot for the in with the mark of the beast. You never know if they're going to put that mark on you, and I'm not going to take it.
I don't think a lot of people are going to take it, Danny. Thank you very much for the phone call. Look, I won't do it again. And Ivy and I, we studied it. We got coerced into it because our child was being mistreated at school, as far as, that's really what I think, Ivy.
Mm-hmm.
Being forced into a single room with 20 people and treated like you were some sort of an outcast if you didn't have the shot. Anyhow.
Right.
It was terrible.
Well, I always see these videos online, that you were talking about the virus that's been on a lot of cruise ships.
The hantavirus.
Hantavirus. And so there's women, a couple of women that I've seen that I've shown, like, they're pushing the mask all over their face and make sure you have it secure. I'm like, do you realize that now that mask is contaminated and it is no good?
Yeah.
Because you've touched it with your dirty hands.
In an operating theater, if the surgeon touches his mask one time, an assistant will come over
and replace it.
And replace it with rubber gloves if you touch the mask one time. There you go. Let's go to Patrick in the great state of Texas. Patrick, welcome to the program.
Patrick is gone.
I'm
Ron
sorry.
in Washington State is next.
Ron, you're next.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
I'm a senior, and I know the price of gas and food's so high, and I was thinking if somebody could reach out to the president and see if we get another stimulus check.
Oh. How big do you want it to be?
2,000 at least.
All right.
I know that Steve, Representative or Secretary Brooke Rollins is working on, hey, why are these prices so high? Is there something going on with the food processors and also with the gas prices, as you talked about earlier,
Well, Susan
record-breaking
Kokinda,
income.
Susan Kokinda that was here earlier says that there's this all leads back to London again. This monopoly of meat processors in America leads back to London because it's all globally manipulated, including the oil price. The oil and gas prices. Look, oil is only at $95 again today. And I say only, but look, it was $45 a barrel higher under Joe Biden, and it barely got to $5 a gallon. Today, it's $40 a barrel or more or less, and we're at $5 a gallon. And as I just said, Shell record profits were posted. Record profits, like I told you was going to happen, Ivy.
Yeah, that's right.
They're making bank on this deal. Anyhow, more of your phone calls right after the break. Ivy's sticking around, too. This is Daybreak. I can't believe that car sales are very good with gas prices where they are. I just can throw that. I mean, it's got to be tough on the car dealers when gas is $5 and diesel's $6 or whatever. I mean, not going to do well for car sales. Just look.
Well, I think that the car sales. I mean, my goodness, you go and look at a brand new Suburban or something in that GMC
grand.
Yukon or whatever. It's $120,000.
Yeah, it just popped up on me. I'm like, are you kidding me? $120,000 for a Yukon XL Denali.
I just don't understand how it's that expensive.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Ridiculous.
Anyhow, you got something for me?
I do. So once again, listening to people who are just saying crazy things out there or dumb things I've heard, I want you to hear this from Tennessee State Rep Justin Peterson. My bite for.
You'll walk out like yourself. Back. Boy! Yeah, let Rep Pearson go. Let Rep Pearson go. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Ted. You stupid mother.
I guess he was a little fired up. He's yelling at state troopers.
Yeah, so this is after the redistricting vote.
And he lost.
And they lost, and he's being escorted out after a bunch of chaos that ensued. This is him speaking to the state trooper.
Yeah.
And there's somebody with him, too. I don't know if you noticed that they called him a pig, that the state trooper. And I'm just like, what in the... And
Today's
then he goes
Democrat
out,
Party.
He goes out, I believe, yesterday. I think this was a couple days ago. This could have happened yesterday, though. Anyhow, he's saying, no matter what you do, the only black district that we had is now not a black district, and you can. I'm just like, what does it matter? You can still go out and vote, and your vote matters.
Newsflash: the only Democrat from Tennessee is a white Jewish man named Steve Cohen. Mm-hmm. All right, it wasn't a black district represented by a white Jewish man. So what they say doesn't even make sense.
Right.
You don't have black districts. You don't have white districts.
Exactly.
You have congressional districts. And as we just learned on CNN, the person most likely to win that district is a black female Republican.
Exactly.
How could it be any more representative than that? Let's.
So what is all this about? This.
It's about power and control.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Go ahead.
Let's jump back on the phone lines. Lenny in Long Island. Lenny, how are you?
Good morning, Ivy, Steve. I was just watching your clip, and that was my question. Where's the decorum in these government houses?
None.
How do people bring foghorns and try to deter a vote while we went through January 6th? This guy pushed a state trooper, and every network put it on TV. How are you going to get law and order and not throw that clown in jail? And my second question, Steve, every time you walk in the house, I've seen Ivy Spoosehead. I've seen the fish she caught. Have you ever beat her size in the moose? Have a good day.
He did, yes. He has a larger moose than I do.
But before I knew you, ever since Ivy showed up, she catches bigger fish. She shoots bigger moose. I don't know who's got the bigger deer since we met.
I had this thought the other day that this is probably your father from heaven looking down and granting me larger fish and larger game animals just for his enjoyment.
My dad would have loved you, Ivy. Oh, my gosh. My dad would have loved you. Look at her go. Look, she caught that big fish. What's wrong with you, Steve? Yeah, I just see it.
That's exactly what he's saying, Steve.
Anyhow, thank you, Lenny, for calling me out. I appreciate you.
And yes, we do need to have decorum. Let's have integrity, and
there isn't any.
In our state houses, it's just ridiculous.
Look, he's right. They got bull horns and these air horns like you would have on a boat, and it's what I
have
saw
some
there.
Class, people.
How was that any better than January the 6th? Honestly, ask yourself. All right, let's go to David in Florida. David, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
How you doing?
I have a question about. I'm doing great.
All
I
right.
have a question about your home title. It seems to me that the homeowner has no control over the title. Either the bank has possession or the county has possession. And I'm wondering, how is somebody allowed to call or go down to the courthouse and swap your title out with not even a phone call from the clerk
Isn't
to
it
the
crazy?
homeowner.
Yeah, they're not required to do that. Listen
It
to
can
this.
all be electronically filed,
Yeah,
can it not?
and that's the problem. And here's the thing about these data centers, and I think this brings it full circle. These data centers are going to use AI to connect all these different things, your social media, your banking account, your home title, your car title. My brother bought a car yesterday, all right? I called him and said, hey, did you go drive the new car? He goes, I can't. Why not? Because the guy that he bought a used car, and he went down, the guy that he bought it from, went with the check to the bank, paid off whatever he owed on it, whatever, right? And the guy said, well, can I get my title? No, we'll mail it to you.
Yeah, I've had that
Wait
same
a second.
experience.
So the bank holds the title to your car. You sell the car. You still don't get the title. It gets mailed to you in 3 to 5 days or whatever it takes. David, I think it's nuts. These people control too much.
Yeah.
Good call. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Let's get to Carla. She is in Wisconsin. Carla, how are you today?
Well, good morning, Steve and Ivy. It's always a pleasure to see your smiling faces.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do. I'm calling regards to last Friday when it was May Day, when I used to get flowers.
Yeah.
That was May Day for me. Being in Wisconsin, I called the Madison schools here, and I asked them, first they asked me if I was a teacher, and I said no, I was a taxpayer, okay? And I said, what's the deal with these all the schools closing down? I said, and they said, well, they talked to the superintendent, and people were talking about it, and they were all going to not be there, so they might as well have the day off. And I said, well, how are they going to make it up? And they said, they're not. They're treating it like a weather emergency.
Yeah,
And I'm 64 years old. We've never had a snow emergency for children to be indoctrinated in our country. And
That's
I'm
right.
just so livid about this.
Carla, you should
I don't
be.
know what to say, please.
You
I am.
should
I think
be
more
livid.
people should be, Steve.
Here's
and
the thing,
Ivy.
Carla.
Your kids.
Thanks for the call. I got to hit a break here, but let me just say this before we go to break. May Day is the celebration of communism globally. That's how they celebrated in the Soviet
and these people
Union.
took off.
Yeah, and
to
these people
celebrate
are
it?
now celebrating May Day in America, which is the communist celebration. May Day is the communist celebration of the Bolshevik Revolution in the
Unbelievable.
Soviet Union. It's what it is. It's when they used to parade the missiles through Moscow. Anyhow, free speech, free for all, Friday on Daybreak. Ivy, I love you.
Love you.
All right, let's see if we can grab a phone call here real quickly from Gwen in West Virginia. Gwen, how are you today?
All right. I've got a question because about the Tennessee stuff.
Yep.
And they are comparing it to the January 6th. And I live.
Yeah, I just asked that,
And-
which was, how is that any better than what you saw on January the 6th? They're going crazy and they're pushing state police officers. Go ahead.
And then they, any common sense person knows you just don't get flagged into a federal building. Because I grew up around here. I used to live in Manassas, Virginia.
Yep.
And then I knew you don't get just flagged in. And then my husband was planning on going that day, but
No,
He's
these were elected officials who were creating this chaos. That's the crazy part, Gwen. These are state Democrats elected to office that are conducting themselves in that way. No decorum, no class, and pushing, and which would be akin to assaulting police officers. Got to leave it there. Greatly appreciate the call. I mean, it's inexcusable. When there are supply constraints on commodities, prices surge. You saw it with fuel. You're seeing it with oil, but they're playing games there. But you know what else is a commodity? Gold. They mine it out of the ground. When it's gone, it's gone. Governments can't just print more of it, and that's good. That's why everyone at central banks and savvy savers are diversifying with gold. If you've been thinking about it for years but have never moved some of your savings into physical gold, Birch Gold, my friends, will help you do it. Right now, through May 29th, Birch Gold is giving a first-time gold buyers a rebate of up to $10,000 on qualifying purchases. For details and a free information kit on diversifying into gold, text America to the number 989898. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Text America to the number 989898. See if you qualify for first-time gold buyer rebate up to $10,000 before the end of the month. Text America to 989898 today. Free speech, free for all Friday. And you can always email. If you don't want to call, I understand. Go to SteveGruber.com. Send me an email. Love to hear what you have to say. Tell me where you're from and what's on your mind. I'll be right back with Congressman Tim Walberg. All right, let's just jump right back into it with Congressman Tim Walberg. He's been on this program for years now, a longtime supporter, and a lot going on in Washington. Congressman, good morning. Nice to see you.
Good to be with you, and hi to all of the friends who tell me they listen to this program every Friday morning. So I think it's you more than me, but nonetheless, it works.
Whatever it takes, boss, whatever it takes. You told us in the break you're kind of on a fact-finding mission in Indiana today. Did you say you were down in a mine yesterday?
Yeah, I've led my Education and Workforce Committee on a field hearing on mine safety, and so we thought a good thing to do yesterday would be to arrive here in Indiana and go to a huge coal mine that's doing a major operation for all of the above power and baseload power that we need in this country. And fortunately, we have a president that believes the same thing, though we need to push a little harder to make sure that coal is part of the equation along with nuclear. Wind and solar, well, I guess, but that's not going to cut it for what we truly need in an age where we're competing against a lot of big, I guess you have to call them enemies, like China.
Yeah,
they're building a new coal-fired energy plant every month. We aren't doing that, so yeah, we're here today, and we'll have a hearing in front of our committee with people talking about mine safety, what can be done, as well as how we can use what comes out of the earth, our natural resources.
Yeah. I learned something here today, so I didn't even realize they mined coal in Indiana. I guess I'm surprised to learn that.
A huge supplier of coal. In fact, one of our largest, if not the largest, energy plant, the Duke energy plant, gets all of its coal from the mine we were at yesterday, and it's amazing operations that go on. And the salaries of miners coming right out of high school and just really a relatively few short years are up in the six figures, and a very stable opportunity. So we need to keep these things going.
Yeah, it's interesting. All right, so while the Democrats this month are celebrating May Day, the Communist Day, the day that the Soviet Union celebrated my entire life, May Day, when they used to bring, missiles and so forth through Red Square in Moscow. Apparently, that's now a day of celebration for Democrats in America. But you guys want to talk about something else, something more invigorating, and that is Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month. I think it's important. I always find it interesting. You're a motorcycle man, right?
I sure am. I chair the Congressional Motorcycle Caucus. Some people find that strange. The mild-mannered Tim Wahlberg, a former pastor, who's a rabid motorcyclist, and yes, I am. But I think it's an indication of America's freedom, freedom on the road, freedom to take a risk, do it wisely. And I speak for education, putting something between the ears as opposed to simply a brain bucket on top of our heads, though I wear a helmet by choice. But I think those things can be mitigated, the problems, and we can enjoy freedom in the United States in that area. People that want to jump out of planes, fine with me. If you want to go spelunking in caves, if you want to do...
Well, seems the congressman froze a little bit. We'll see if we get him right back. It is about freedom. I don't drive motorcycles, for the record. I'm not allowed. My attention span's entirely too short, and, well, I think it's probably best if I just have a lot of steel around me. That's why I drive pickup trucks and Suburbans and things like that. Anthony, just holler if you get him hooked back up there. But Tim Wahlberg is sponsoring the Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month, along with Senators John Curtis of Utah, Joni Ernst of Iowa, Angus King, believe it or not, of Maine, and, yes, Gary Peters of Michigan. I guess your political persuasion is not persuaded away from two wheels on the open road. You want to work with that, or you want to move forward, Anthony?
Trying to get Tim back.
All right, we'll see what we come up with there. Let's go ahead and grab a phone call while we wait for him. Chris in Pennsylvania. Chris, how are you today?
Very good, thank you. Question. The other day you complimented an astronaut, said he was a national treasure. If you remember that, I have a question about the person who asked him a question, the little girl. I was very pleased both with the astronaut's answer and with your compliment, but what really got me questioning was the race-baited question.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. My thinking probably too deeply is that somebody put that girl up to that question. I doubt that she intended it to be a race-based question. But my question is, okay,
I think you're
who
right.
told her? Her parents? The schools?
I think it's the schools.
Now, why are we?
Yeah.
Why? I agree. And why are we paying taxes to schools? We started a Christian homeschool group in our area in Pennsylvania. Absolutely no way I would send anybody to a public school anywhere in the country at this point.
I agree, Chris. Great phone call. Great point. And I had the same question when I saw her ask the question. Obviously, she's been trained that way, taught that way, and that's a sad thing in America today. It really is. Chris, thank you for the phone call. Back to Congressman Tim Walberg now. Congressman, I want to just go to your point about freedom on motorcycles, because there's something that's come up a lot recently. And that is, in 2021, Joe Biden signed into law a measure that will require all cars beginning in the year 2027 model year to have all of this technology in there that can shut the car down. If the AI in the car doesn't think that you're able to drive for any reason, it'll shut it down. And I think that's incredibly dangerous. I think that a lot of people don't like that a bit. And now that I see we're going to have autonomous boats on the Great Lakes this year, $37 million contract, driving around, taking pictures of everybody, monitoring everybody. How do you feel about all that? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't like it.
Yeah, that's a real problem for me too. I mean, we are living in an age where a lot of this technology will produce greater opportunities for senior citizens to be mobile and get around without having to drive with an autonomous vehicle coming to pick them up. I get that, but I think we have to walk the divide there between Big Brother monitoring and these new technologies. And it came up just last week as we were discussing putting chips in the cars to electric vehicles to give them a way to pay so-called gas taxes that they don't pay now, and help care for the roads that they're using, in fact, putting more weight on. But thinking about that, that still talks about Big Brother, in a sense, monitoring wherever you are. And that can be a scary thing. And like you say, with a chip that's mandated to put in, and hopefully we'll end that, that can shut a vehicle down.
Yeah, the other part of that is one more thing. Yeah, I think we should get rid of it. I call it the God switch. It can reach right out of the sky and turn your car off. I think that's terrible. And real quickly, Massachusetts now in the state legislature passing a measure that will restrict how much gasoline you can use in Massachusetts. I mean, the end of freedom. 20 seconds. Last word to you, sir.
Well, again, this is a reminder that we, the people, must stay engaged, involved, and not just shouting and talking amongst ourselves and going to meetings. But we've got to get involved, and we've got to also decide who provides us the greatest opportunity. There's no perfection out there, but I know the Republicans provide a much better opportunity for freedom than the other side. Let's work together and give this president his final 3 years, 2.5 years, to do everything that he wants to do to make America great again and get back to the founding principles. They'll push back in every way, but we need to push back as well.
Congressman Tim Walberg, nice seeing you, sir. Have a good weekend.
You as well.
Greatly appreciate it. We'll be right back after this. All right, we've been talking this morning about the just complete upheaval in Tennessee yesterday by the Democrats when the Republicans passed and then Governor Lee there signed into law new congressional districts. And the leading candidate to get that district is a black female Republican. And yet they're sitting there screaming racism. Really? Racism. A black woman is going to get the seat. She just doesn't have lockstep with a socialist. Steve Abramowitz is an author, former Wall Street guy, host of the Heartland Journal podcast, joining me now. Steve, nice to see you today.
Nice to see you. I woke up laughing. You're exactly right. It's a farce.
It is a farce. A black woman is going to get that seat. She's the leading candidate anyway. And the Democrats are screaming racism. If I'm not mistaken, that seat is currently held by a white Jewish man, Steve Cohen. Am I wrong?
Nope. For 20 years, it's been held by a white Jewish man who voted for the redistricting when Democrats had most of the state. So it's a cynical ploy to make another young black man from Maine, a carpetbagger, take a seat that now he's devastated he's not going to get. And you're right. It is a black woman. There's also a black man Republican running for mayor of Shelby County in a situation where Shelby County voted on Tuesday and 89,000 people voted out of 577,000 or 16% turnout. So it's much ado about nothing. And boy, did they make a mess of Nashville yesterday.
Yeah. How many Republicans represent New England today? About 80 million people.
Zero. The entire New England, Vermont. Yeah, you're right. That's the point. And so, Virginia just did this too. And the Supreme Court just said, guess what? Don't do it anymore because Louisiana has a slash right through the middle that was racially gerrymandered. So Tennessee is just making a fool of itself, to be honest.
Yeah, so Louisiana is going to be an issue here because there's a challenge here. How can you go to the general election with congressional seats that have been deemed unconstitutional? You can't. And yet they're still trying to fight it in Louisiana, the Democrats are. You can't go. It's been deemed and struck down as unconstitutional. Right.
If it wasn't this fight, they'd have no fight at all. And we got a Tennessee Democrat saying they're going to secede from the state. Although where are you going to go? You're surrounded by red states like Mississippi. So that's impossible.
Yeah, good luck
so the
with
whole
that.
thing was just a devastating blow to one man from Maine named Justin Pearson, who literally saw his dreams come shattering down because he doesn't get to raise all that out-of-state money that Kamala Harris promised him because his district, like Jasmine Crockett before him, like Benny Thompson, like Claiborne, disappeared, poof, because they were unconstitutionally gerrymandered for 40 years.
I'm glad you brought that up. Clyburn in South Carolina, they're going to redraw there as well. And look, the wins, and the Democrats can't stand it. And you know, I'm going to tell you this, and I've been saying this ever since this all started. The biggest fear Democrats have is black Republicans in Congress, because all of a sudden, all the black voters in America will say, wait a second, I like that person. I like her. I like him. The biggest fear they have is the Congressional Black Caucus is dominated by black Republicans. Boy, is that frightening to them.
There's a senator from South Carolina who ran against, white folks, and he won. So
that's right.
The thing about gerrymandering people, I was listening to some of this word on the street during the Nashville situation, and they don't know what gerrymandering really means. They were told they're going to lose their vote. They're not. They can still vote for anybody they want. And guess what? The odds of a Republican black person going to D.C. for their behalf is higher now than it ever was before in their lifetime. So it's really a joke. And guess what, Steve? The 120th Congress is going to have something we haven't seen in my lifetime. No Nancy Pelosi, no Claiborne, no Jasmine Crockett, no Eric Swalwell. Some of the worst Democrats in the history of this country aren't going to be back. So we have a chance to make America great again. Thank you, Donald Trump and the U.S. Supreme Court for finally getting rid of this. I wouldn't be surprised if next year we see Brown versus Board of Education turnaround. So Roe versus Wade, racial gerrymandering, and potentially education fixed while Donald Trump is president. How amazing.
Yeah, and the other part about that is I'm pretty sure that Samuel Alito is going to retire here after the session is over in June. Almost for sure, and it's possible Clarence Thomas could as well. And wouldn't that be remarkable? Donald Trump gets 2 more Supreme Court picks prior to the election. That would be remarkable.
And Justice Brown has been a disaster, so yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, those two are really difficult to replace, but They're both about 80, so you have to do something. Anyhow, we'll see how this all plays out. Right now, I don't think Virginia is going to get certified because they violated the law. And California is in question because they drew some of their districts based on race, I believe. And if those both get frozen, it could be plus 15 for the Republicans come November. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you. I was going to say there's 40 that could lose their seats, and Florida just did the right thing. So
Yeah,
keep an eye on it.
40 by 2028. That's correct. By 20, it could be even higher. Good talking to you. Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciated. All right. We still got some phone calls stacked up. Let's go to Jim in Florida on this Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Jim, good morning.
Hello, Steve and Ivy.
How are you?
Good, good. If you can bear with me for just a second and let me run down a short list here. I have some things that I'd like to hit.
Well, go quickly. Yep.
Accountability, number one.
Yes, sir.
I think the American people are sick and tired of hearing the word accountability without there being any. I mean, they got all this stuff on Walsh and Omar and everybody else, and they keep saying it's under investigation. I mean, come on. You can arrest, investigate, prosecute, and put them in jail and then keep investigating. And as they get more charges, they can bring them out of jail, retry them, put them back in, and run it concurrent.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way.
But every time somebody brings something up about their accountability, somebody starts talking about Epstein. We don't give a damn. The pig's dead.
Yeah.
Take his assets, divide them up, give them to these young women while they're still women.
Agreed.
Give
Agreed.
it to them. Just give it to them.
Jim, thank you. I got to leave it right there. Got to leave it right there, my friend. I'm sorry. I got a commercial break coming up. Divide Epstein's money between the victims. That's a pretty fine idea, actually. Let them have something out of that entire nightmare. I think that's a pretty good idea. You guys are the best. I'll have more phone calls coming up on Free Speech, Free for All Friday. This is Daybreak. All right, let's check it out. Sports with Brock Palmbush.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. 2 NBA playoff games last night in round 2. In the East, Detroit won over Cleveland 107-97 to take a 2-0 series lead. Cade Cunningham had 25 to lead the Pistons. Out west, Oklahoma City trounced the LA Lakers 125-107. Thunder up 2-0. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren each had 22 points to lead the Thunder. In the NHL playoffs, the Carolina Hurricanes went up 3-0 on the Philadelphia Flyers with a 4-1 win in Game 3 of Round 2. Jordan Staal and Andrei Svechnikov each had a goal and an assist for the Hurricanes. Carolina has yet to lose in the postseason. In Major League Baseball, there were 10 games. American League winners included the New York Yankees, Cleveland, and the Athletics. National League winners included Washington, the Chicago Cubs, and Colorado. And the NCAA announced that the men's and women's basketball tournaments will expand from 68 to 76 teams next season. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
All right, Brock, thank you for that. All right, let's just jump right back to the phone lines. Ronnie is in California. Ronnie, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Hey, I'd be tickled pink if you give me 1 minute to run my drag here. But, yeah, I spent 20 years of my life underwater diving abalone, and every day when Rush Limbaugh would come on, my deckhand would pull me out of the water, and I'd spend an hour listening to him. But I got to give a shout-out to my fellow Ron down in Florida, because he signed something about the chemtrails and people not breathing that air.
Sure did.
But it was funny when you brought up the Kent State and the National Guard down in Alabama. I thought about Forrest Gump. But it made me think of the other time National Guard was out of college at Kent State. That was a whole different one. But that hantavirus, you know, people take colloidal silver. It cures malaria in 4 days, and that's a good thing to have with your wellness kit. But I got to say that Obama, Clinton, and, well, Hillary and Biden cabal, those guys broke so many laws, so many violations that I got to start a podcast called What's Really Going Wrong, with a small W, capital R-O-N-G. But
well, there you go, Ronnie. I gave you a straight minute. Now I got to hit a break, but you got a hot minute, Ronnie. Well done. Well done. We'll take more of your calls the next hour. For those of you on Real America's Voice, Sunrise is next. For the rest of you on the streaming and MTN networks, more free speech, free for all Friday phone calls, and more Ivy. How can you beat that? It's all coming up.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now.
Let's kick it off, folks. Glad to have you here on a Free Speech Free for All Friday. Glad to have you on board. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, what's going on with cruise ships? A Disney cruise ship, more than 2,000 people elected for, arrested, that is, for involvement in child pornography on a Disney cruise. We'll talk about that. Number two, in California, hundreds of ballots found that were unopened and never counted. No problem with these mail-in ballots. I mean, it's the easiest, it's the most clean way to do elections, they tell me. Come on. And number three, it is free speech, free for all Friday, 877-310-9966. You might be able to sneak in on the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. If you do, you'll be able to tell America what you think about whatever you want to talk about. Let's start with Terry in Indiana. Terry, how are you today?
Good morning, sir. Glad to talk to you. Hey, the first part is kind of for you and mostly for your wife. We've got some pretty good crappie fishing down here in the spring. Welcome to come down anytime you want.
I like that.
Second thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, come down. I'll take you out on the boat. We'll go crappie fishing, especially in the spring.
All right.
Hey, we're in the area. Do you think President Trump's going to swing over and take Bagram Air Force Base back?
You know, wouldn't that was the dumbest thing. I mean, the Biden administration did some dumb things. That might be number one. $1 billion Air Force Base we give up and the Chinese operate now. I don't think. No, do I think we're getting it back? I don't. I don't think we're ever getting it back.
That's too bad. Hey, lastly, and I've heard no one ask this.
All right.
What happened to all the documents, incriminating documents from Ukraine that, would have exposed money laundering and one thing and the next? Where did those all disappear to?
Yeah, another great question, Terry, for which there'll probably never be an answer. Money laundering is the exact thing. Yep. Exactly right, Terry. Fraud. When you put out that much money, there's fraud. It's almost inevitable when you don't pay attention to where the money's going. There's a place AI could help us a little bit. Monitor every dollar, how it's spent, where it goes. Thank you for the call. Scott in Tennessee today, the newly redistricted state of Tennessee. Scott, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Lovely. What's up?
Well, first of all, I want to tell you, I lived in Memphis for a good long time. I loved that city. Then they voted in a Democrat mayor, and that was the end of it. My friends that are left there say, don't move back. It's not safe. But anyway, I transferred my job. I'm retired now. I live in Nashville. Listen, that guy that was screaming and yelling with the air horn and getting in the police officer's face, he's part of the Tennessee Three. There's a white woman and two black men. They have caused a ruckus in the people's house before, and they were all thrown out.
Oh, yeah, the Tennessee
Three. They let the white woman back in, and then the race tag came up, so they let them all back in. They are known for causing these near riots down there in the people's house. They need to get rid of them. Joe Biden even invited them to the White House after the first incident.
Yeah, I remember that.
They're troublemakers, and they need to be gone. And as far as Steve Cohen goes, living in Memphis, he isn't worth a damn either.
Yeah.
But
Scott, great call.
have it.
Good day, new day for Tennessee, thankfully. Steve Cohen will be gone. And that's good news. Let's go to Russ in New York, another gerrymandered gem for the Democrats. Russ, how are you today?
I'm fine, Steve. Where's Ivy? That blouse is stunning. I mean, it makes you look drab, but I really wish she was on for more of the whole show.
Makes me look drab. That hurts me. I'm hurt. I'm emotionally. I'm not. Ivy's a beautiful human being. Excuse me, inside and out. What's on your mind?
I can tell she makes you a better person when she's there. I want to ask you two questions like Terry just now. I want to ask you one short question. Are we fighting a 21st century war with 20th century equipment? And the second thing is about AI. should we use AI to redistrict? And I was on so long, I thought, think about AI voting bots. These people have AI companions, and I think some lazy people might use AI voting bots to decide which candidate is best for that individual voter, from an algorithm. And will this collectively, democratically lead to socialism and communism like we're going to get over here instead of destructive tribalism? I voted for Trump twice and Mamdani once, so I love the show.
Wait. You voted for Mamdani? Oh, good Lord. I had to get that question. He ran away. Can't believe anybody would vote for Mamdani. Interesting questions, though, and comments, as always. This is a cross-section of America when we do Free Speech, Free for All Friday. We get all sorts of folks, and any topic is legal as long as you keep it clean, right? Everett in New Mexico. Everett, good morning.
Yes, I'm 67. I just have two quick things.
All right.
Why don't they have a 1 million-person march to Washington to get rid of the filibuster? And I got Patriot mobile phone watching you. It's the best phone service ever.
I agree with that. Everett, thank you for that. A 1 million-person march to get the Save America Act. Like that idea. We've got to have it. We really do. We've got to have it. Let's go to Dave. Surprise, Arizona. Dave, how are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored. Thank you, Mr. Gerber. Hope you and Ms. Ivy are as well, sir.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'd like to start out with a quote. Courage is not simply one of the virtues, but the form of every virtue at its testing point. That's the great C.S. Lewis. And we know that President Trump knows that because he's courageous. He's doing whatever he's doing in Iran, despite what the impact might be for the midterms. But as we've talked about before, he is seemingly the only one with courage out of our 539 elected federal servants. And most of them don't even realize they are our servants. We need to somehow flip the tables and flip the script and make sure that our representatives in the Senate and in the House realize that they work for us.
Yeah, they don't get
Your emphasis on the Save America Act is key. But even simple stuff like three of my representatives here in Arizona have pushed a Charlie Kirk bill to reverse the Smith Modernization Act in Congress.
That's important. Yeah, that would be important.
And it's been 7 months, and Polly Pockets, little Mike Johnson, won't even put it on the floor for a vote.
That's too bad, Dave. Yeah, I got to jump. Good points here today from Arizona. Yeah, the Smith-Mundt Act needs to be brought back. Barack Obama got rid of that. Bad move for America. Let's go to Steve in Jackson, Michigan. Steve, how are you?
Good morning, Steve. How are you today, sir?
I'm good.
I spent 28 years in law enforcement, and I was watching your show, and I saw that state trooper get pushed.
Yeah.
You push a police officer, you go to jail.
That's it.
And at the bare minimum, you get a warrant for the gentleman's arrest.
That's it. It's assault.
Nobody pushes the police.
Yeah. I agree with you. What I saw was egregious. He was aggressive. He was violent. And not to mention the things that were coming out of his mouth, right?
And again, you do not lay your hands on the color of authority. You can yell at them as much as you want, but you don't touch them.
You don't push them. Steve, thank you for the call. I appreciate you. Appreciate all of you. If you want to send me an email, go to stevegruber.com, me or Ivy. We read them every day. Try to respond to as many as possible, but it is a bucket load every day. So if you get a response, you're welcome. And if you don't be offended. There's only so much time in the day, and preparing for this show takes a couple of minutes. So there it is. Free Speech, Free for All Friday continues after this. All right, jumping back into it now, every now and then you got to bring in the most talented person in any given field. In this case, the best-looking, most talented, most accomplished attorney in the history of attorneys is our good friend Steve Doolin, who joins us on Fridays. Doolin, there you are.
Gruber, some mornings or some Fridays you read that like you got a gun to your head, man.
Well, you are the gun guy, after all. Let me ask you about all this redistricting. Because the Supreme Court, and here's what's crazy to me. I'm going to get into the gun laws here in a second, too, but it seems that whenever convenient, the Democrats will ignore court rulings. They'll just do whatever they want. And I've seen that in Rhode Island and Virginia when it comes to guns. Now, when it comes to redistricting, they just go crazy. I don't know if you saw the videos out of Tennessee yesterday. Boy, it was nuts. It looked like January the 6th. I mean, they're just rioting and screaming and pushing of police officers. It was off the charts. But the fact of the matter is, the Supreme Court simply said that race cannot be a factor in drawing districts. The Constitution has to be colorblind. And the strange thing about the Democrats yelling racism in Tennessee, the person most likely to get that seat, the newly created seat in Tennessee, is a black woman. Republican, of course, which drives them crazy because their biggest fear are black Republicans. Not racism, but black Republicans that can convince black voters, hey, you've been led down the garden path by Democrats. Come join the good guys. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm reminded of George Washington's last official public speech where he warned against faction. My friend Rainey over at Hillsdale College, he's a history professor, David Rainey, he refers to it as the other F word, or the founder's F word, faction, meaning party, right? And what's happening, what you see play out, is this party uber alles approach. And it's about the pursuit of power, not governing in the best way possible for the state or the nation or the county or the city where they are. Is simply about maintaining the power of the party. And that's exactly what George Washington warned us against. There aren't any parties. You hear people talk about the two-party system. It's not in the Constitution. It's something that has developed over time. And once the two parties got to the point where they pretty much control the ballots in every jurisdiction, they have fought tooth and nail against any third party that might arise. But that's exactly what we're seeing, is simply human nature, tribalism. And generally, if you are a socialist Marxist, you're not good at thinking. So the other sort of human way of responding to things is through emotion. So if you just think about how human nature applies to the currently existing power structure, all this is kind of predictable.
It really is predictable. Here's the thing. I've looked at these projections, and I want you to think about it. This is the most dramatic shift in representation in my lifetime, potentially. You see, the Democrats have already gerrymandered the hell out of everything. New England doesn't have a single Republican. In 80 million people, there's not a Republican representing anybody. Illinois is 14-3. California's 40-something to like 7 or 8, and they want to get it down to 4 or whatever it is. New York, similar. The Republicans have never gone after this the way they're going after it now. And if they can take this and gerrymander the way the Democrats have over the last few decades, it'll be something like 240 or 250 Republican seats. That's the way the map plays out. As high as 262 by some projections. But we'll just go in the middle, say 250. That would leave the Democrats with, 175 representatives. I mean, it will be the biggest shift in power ever.
Right.
And representing the people. I mean, it's seismic, isn't it?
That's a great way to say it. And the truth is, gerrymandering is never going to go away. It's always been with us. The only question is, on what basis will the gerrymandering be conducted? And the Supreme Court essentially, I'm not the first person to say this, and it's not even a new thought, but if you want to stop racial discrimination, you have to stop discriminating based on race. So that means that the law and the practice, de jure and de facto, we call it in my business, has to be colorblind. And colorblindness in recent years has been accused of being some kind of a right-wing phrase, but that's actually what the documents call for at this point in history.
Yeah. Let me ask you about something else. Watching the Supreme Court, this session will wrap up in June, maybe as late as July 1, but usually June. Pretty good indications that Samuel Alito is going to retire. His health is not what it has been. Of course, he's 80. Yeah. That'll be a big loss for the court. I think he's been just a pillar of common sense. And Clarence Thomas, also 80. They could both step aside and allow Trump to get 2 more conservative justices there before something bad happens in the Senate. Now, I don't expect the Democrats to get the Senate. I think that's a pipe dream for the Democrats. But what do you think? Is Alito going to step aside? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, the one thing I've learned about myself is my crystal ball doesn't work very well, right, for predicting the future. But we say a loss to the court. I mean, of the two, I think Thomas would be the bigger loss. Thomas is he's really stepped in to fill the shoes of Scalia, his old friend, and after Justice Scalia passed away. A lot of us, literally cried real tears. And then Justice Thomas stepped in to fill the void. And who knows who might be out there who might be able to step in to fill the void if Alito retires because of health reasons. So the important thing is elections matter because elections determine who makes those appointments. The other thing we have to worry about is making sure that we shore up the law against court packing threats. Because
absolutely,
as we've talked about, there's that number 9 isn't in the Constitution either.
No, there's no number. It could be 13. It could be 25. It can be anything that they want it to be. Democrats want it to be whatever the number is to give them the advantage, politically speaking, for power. That whatever that number is where they want to be. Anyhow, Dylan, always good to see you, my friend.
Great to see you, Steve.
There he is, folks, the most accomplished, best-looking attorney in the history of the world. God bless America. I'll be right back. Saw that, but I'm not doing it. All right. Let's jump right back into it. I'm going to grab, let's see, we got to do this. People keep asking me about this. I got to do this. And that is the QE infrared facial mask, a red infrared light therapy you can use at home to help support healthier looking skin, boost collagen, soften the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. You know who uses it? Ivy does. Instead of expensive spa treatments, you just wear the mask a few minutes a day. Comfortable, easy to use, fits right into your schedule. It's the same mask, like I said, that Ivy used. People love the results. Skip the costly spa visits. Go to QEstrong.com. Use promo code Gruber. Get the mask for under $200. QEstrong.com. Promo code Gruber, less than $200. All right, I believe Jack in Toledo has been on the line, patiently waiting. Jack, good morning.
Morning, and remember to go buy your lovely bride something nice for Mother's Day.
Very nice. You're breaking up a little bit.
All right, I'll try and speak up. We need to.
Yeah, we gotta put him on hold there, Brock. I'm a little trouble with Jack. He's called before. A little trouble with. We'll get him back on. We'll circle him through, but let's go to Herman in Pennsylvania while we get that figured out. Herman, how are you today?
Good morning, Steve. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good, thank you. What's on your mind?
If Trump keeps on saying that we have all this gas and all these oil deposits that we're now drilling for, doing it. And if we have all this oil and all this stuff, all this great stuff within our country, why don't the American companies take care of the American people?
Because they've been blocked, Herman. Herman, hold on. They were blocked time and again by environmental regulations, the Green New Deal, all of that nonsense. Regulations stood in their way. They were not giving permits out during the Biden years for new oil and gas development. They were being blocked. So it's reopening the door, and it takes time to ramp up. That's what's going on. And these companies are afraid to get down that road with a bunch of money and have the Democrats come back into power and say, you can't do that anymore. That's the answer, Herman.
But putting the American people first would also get the voting public first.
I agree with you. Energy security is national security. Great call, by the way. Great call. Why are we not doing it? We're trying to correct a lot of errors. I'll be right back. All right, here we go, jumping back into it. Faye Baydoun in the headlines here in Michigan. Close friend of Gretchen Whitmer, also a friend of Attorney General Dana Nessel and others high in power. But at some point, they couldn't look the other way, and the AG announced 16 felony charges against Baydoun here. She's 62, Farmington Hills, for the alleged theft of funds and fraudulent administration of a $20 million state legislative grant award that came from the MEDC, the Michigan Economic Development Council, for which she was a member. Let me get this straight. She's on the MEDC and she works to award herself a grant and then misuses the money. That's what we understand. Steve Cara, state representative for District 36. See, Steve, I can get it right. There you go. I can get this right. Nice to see you today.
That's right. Yeah, good to see you as always, Steve. And to that point, her organization wasn't even formed yet when she was awarded the $20 million. She did that after the fact.
How convenient.
It was a ridiculous process.
Yeah, how convenient. Could you do that, or could I do that? No.
Well, if you're a big donor to the governor, it gets you access for things like that. And that's the problem with things of the past. But fortunately, with the HEAP transparency plan that we have as Republicans in the House, we're starting to look at these problems with these earmarks from the past and saying we can't keep picking winners and losers and giving these things away behind closed doors. So under Speaker Hall's leadership, it's been good to have some transparency there.
Yeah, sure. Look, these are serious charges, but when I hear these cases, and this one, this one's just egregious. I mean, a $5,000 coffee maker and all sorts of things. Out of $1.35 million spent, from what I can tell, $20,000 of it total was spent on what it was actually supposed to go for. I mean, out of $1.35 million, 20 grand total spent on what the initiative was for. I mean, it's beyond the pale, isn't it?
It definitely is a huge problem. And, from that coffee maker, like you said, to her lavish overseas travels, the concept of global link, my understanding of what she was trying to do is go over and find businesses from around the world and try to attract them to Michigan was the general idea. But the way they do that is special tax breaks, grants, subsidies that are funded by the taxpayers of Michigan, where the small businesses have to pay the high tax rate, but then you get these special deals for these crony, politically connected, globally organizations. That was her objective and mission, and she did those types of trips with the MEDC, with Quentin Messner, with Governor Whitmer overseas. And I think it's a very disgusting process in terms of the initiative that she had in general, without it being so reckless and financially assisting to her own personal interests.
Yeah, she's accused of operating a criminal enterprise, and that's even more serious. I mean, look, she's looking at years in prison. But I don't see how people like the governor or the AG or these other folks can just wash their hands and say, oh, we didn't know anything about it. Look, if I show you your friends, I'm going to show you who you are. And what I think about is all the fraud in Minnesota or California. We've got it right here, too. Steve, we've got it right here, too, and we've got to root it out because it's there. A lot of it's hiding right in plain sight, just like this one was. This is not a one-off. I don't think. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you're right. This is one that is very clear, and I do appreciate the Attorney General, Dana Nessel, being courageous here, standing up to Governor Whitmer and the MEDC, and that politics as usual. I hope that she continues to do this with other things as well, like the Mundy mega site up there near Flint, where you had SanDisk back out, and they're tearing down perfectly good houses at well above market price without a plan of what's going to happen moving forward. And it's just a ridiculous thing that continues to happen with government and politics as usual. And that's what we've been accustomed to as a state under Governor Whitmer's leadership.
Yeah. We're hoping for a change come November, that's for sure. What are your thoughts? You're out there. You're in district. You talk to people. What's the temperature out there? How do you feel about November?
Well, interesting time here, with Mayor Duggan on the ballot. It's a three-way race. You've got a Democrat, a Republican, and an independent. And so he gets a lot of money from both sides of the aisle, including big corporate Republican interests, which are starting to trend more towards the Whitmer-style politics. But the Democrat voters are more attracted to Duggan. Yeah. And so that could split votes. It could go any direction here for governor. And it's a big race, and people need to know that it's important to get out there and vote. Midterms tend to have a little bit lower voter turnout than the presidential years, but that's even more encouraging of a time to show up to vote and to participate, because some people are going to stay home.
Yeah.
If we turn out our base,
but let's be fair.
We can fix problems.
when I hear Republicans saying, well, look at what he's done in Detroit. Yep, been a lot of success in Detroit. I'll give people that. But the bottom line is he's a Democrat. He can call himself an independent. He's a Democrat, an anti-gun Democrat at that. And there are issues there that people really need to pay attention to. He's an anti-gun guy. All right? I mean, we know that. He's been on this program. And we've talked about some of these things. And yeah, he could pull off the inside straight, but I think it's more likely he splits the Democrat vote, and whoever the Republican nominee turns out to be is in a very solid position to win in this state for the first time since Rick Snyder, and I think that's pretty interesting. Last word to you today,
Absolutely.
Steve.
Oh, well, yeah, I think just, understanding that these earmarks or these legislative directed spending items where in the past they didn't have sponsors, they didn't have transparency, these special deals were given under the Whitmer administration was a problem. And now what we're seeing with the Republican efforts in the House to say, hey, we need to have transparency in how we're spending the taxpayers' dollars in Michigan is definitely a step in the right direction. And we need to continue to be good stewards of the dollars of the people of Michigan. So this is a step, but we need to keep going in this direction.
No question. Good talking to you today. Steve Cara, State Representative, District 36. I did it twice. Twice I got it right.
Very good.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
All right. I just got to tell you, I'm kind of proud of myself here today. I am. I've gotten 3 crowns in a row, 3 days or 3 nights, I should say, in a row, from my Aura ring that Ivy got me, I don't know, a number of months ago. And I really like the thing, actually, and it monitors my sleep. I've gotten 3 crowns in a row. A crown meaning you had a perfect night's sleep or optimum or whatever. And look, I credit the Ghost Bed. I do. The American-made Ghost Bed that we've had for the last couple of months, it's awesome. I woke up thinking, man, what another great night. Look, Ghost Bed, built in America, doesn't build mattresses like furniture. They build engineered sleep systems. The beds are serious health equipment designed to help you recover, and that's what you're supposed to do when you sleep. Your body is supposed to recover, all right? And you should be healing when you sleep, not fighting for comfort. If you're waking up stiff, if you toss and turn, if you're too hot, or if you're taking pain meds before you go to bed, that's not the deal. It's not the deal. That's not aging. That could be your mattress talking, and maybe now's the time to look at the American-made Ghost Bed. And by the way, you can try it for 101 nights, no risk. If you don't like it, send it back, right? If you can feel the difference, you're going to. Ghost Bed offering my audience the lowest price of the season and an extra 10% off. If you're in the market for a bed, buy something made in America, would you please? Ghostbed.com. Promo code is Gruber. Ghostbed.com/Gruber. Promo code Gruber. You're going to get the best deal. And I hope you get the kind of sleep that I get. 3 crowns, 3 nights in a row. That's right. I'm going to celebrate. By the way, I'm going to celebrate with Ivy. She's coming up. A couple more phone calls. I've got Dan and Tom and others on the line on a Free Speech Free for All Friday. I'll be right back.
I literally witnessed
Keep the gas down and roar right into it. Yes, let's do that. Ivy's back in the room. Ivy, good to have you back again, of course.
Hello. Yes, good morning. Happy to be here.
People were calling for more Ivy here earlier, so I give them
I heard
more.
that.
Yeah.
And talked about, how is it that I always get bigger fish? Anyhow.
Oh, yeah, you got to throw that out there.
It's funny. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm better skilled.
Yeah.
Anyhow, there's many retailers are now installing these electronic shelf labels. I actually have a video if you're playing that B-roll, Anthony. There's some shoppers that are watching these prices change
In real time.
So it's called a digital price tag that can change prices instantly from a central computer
So
system.
wait a second.
Walmart is one of the biggest companies rolling them out nationwide.
Here's my question. You pick up the Reese's there, right? You got an electronic tag.
Yes.
Let's say it's $1, right?
Okay.
You put it in your cart, and as you walk away, it goes to $1.50.
You pay $1.50.
So you pick up. See, that's not legal in Michigan.
I don't see how that's legal.
No. Michigan's very specific. If you pick up an item in Michigan and it says $1, and you get to the register, they charge you $1.50. I think the law is, or at least it used to be, the retailer has to pay you triple the difference.
Really?
Right. So I don't think that's legal in Michigan because when you pick an item off the shelf, it has to be priced at the price it says on the shelf.
Right.
And Michigan's very strict about it. At least they have been.
Well, I don't understand how this makes sense to me because if it's a false advertising, right? Well, I picked up this item. It said it was $5. Now it's $6.50.
Yeah, no.
Maybe, okay, you can have electronic price tags if you want to change prices, change them overnight. And then you have to maintain them throughout the day because I don't see how that's just outrageous.
I think we need Ron DeSantis to step in and say you can't do this because he'll be the one to do it. And I think in Michigan, I don't see how that flies because Michigan retailing is pretty. That's fascinating to me. So you buy an item, it says $1, you get to the register, you pay $1.50, and we've all been here. Wait a second, I know this said $1 on the shelf, and they go back and check.
So what is this thing? So I worry about what if the prices rise during like busy hours or before storms or holidays or high demand periods.
Right.
So
That's
you
exactly
can
what
do
it'll do.
price fluctuations during those times. So what is it? Again, let's go back to the cost of like healthcare, right? You got all these different prices. So what is the price of the item, of the product, of the service?
Right.
I think this leads to a lot of scrutiny and it's outrageous.
A lot of chaos,
Anyhow.
and I'm going to tell you, states are going to step in and say you can't do that in our state. In fact, anybody listening from the state house or Senate, which I know you are, good morning to all of you, make sure this doesn't happen in Michigan.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Ivy, mind if I grab a call?
Let's do it. Let's go.
All right, Dan in Tennessee, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Real quick, first of all, Steve, I'm going to premise what I'm going to say. I'm not making a moral or ethical determination about this. I'm middle class. I make $14 an hour, and I'm retired. So I'm going to address the price of gasoline. Okay, first of all, there are three things that control it: supply and demand, global demand, and what these companies have is a fiduciary responsibility to their stockholders. Now,
True.
I'm a small guy. I'm invested in stocks, and I don't do a lot, but I put it into oil companies because they make money.
Yeah.
If they don't invest that money properly, they're liable. They can be sued by their stockholders for making a profit. I'm not making a moral issue about it or saying anything about it in terms of the right or wrong of it or how it impacts poor people or people in general. But it's a harsh reality. If you look at England and other countries, their gas is far more expensive.
But
So it's not just America.
but that has nothing to do. The price of oil is the price of oil, Dan. The reason that England pays more and France pays more and Germany pays more, it's taxes, period. Same reason California pays more, because the price of oil is still the same. And so if people in Oklahoma pay the cheapest prices in America, which they do for gasoline, it's because they have the lowest barriers, and that's a fact. Yeah.
Right.
Good stuff.
100%.
Greatly appreciate it, Dan. I want to get one more, Ivy.
Let's go.
Tom in Kansas. How are you today?
Hello, sir. How you doing?
We're doing well.
Well, I just want to say how soon these Democrats forget. I mean, it was maybe 2 years ago. I was paying $5.50 for E85 to run in the lawnmower.
Yeah.
And now, I actually see a $3.99 down the road here. It's stupid how they can't how they use the system just to play their games.
Well, they sure do, Tom. And here's the truth. Oil was $140 a barrel July 2022. Gas just got to $5 a gallon nationally. It's almost there now. And oil is $40 a barrel less. $45 a barrel less. I just looked. $45 a barrel less, and gas is the same price. That smells to me. It probably smells to you too, Tom.
You ain't kidding.
Yeah, thank you for the call. Greatly appreciated. I mean, Ivy, we looked at the price. I saw it for, what was it, $5.48 yesterday, or excuse me, $4.58.
What did we? I just filled up for the gas yesterday, and it was $4 something.
Yeah, $4.58.
Yeah, no, it was. I don't think it was that high. I don't think.
Maybe you
like
got a little better deal
or something.
I don't think it was that low.
No.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe I was mistaken.
It happens.
So Congressman Tim Burchett says the Trump administration will begin releasing long-awaited UFO and UAP files starting today.
I think that they're living in the oceans. That's what I'm going. I mean, I've seen these. Look, I've seen these military videos, and you see these things going off at speeds that our F-15s can't go, and right into the ocean they go, and they come right back
the
out.
X-Files theme when we need it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Maybe the X-Files were just a preview, Brock.
So yeah.
What do you think, Ivy?
So they.
No. What do you think?
Oh, think about what? Oh, the UFOs.
Yeah. What do you think? I don't think I've ever asked you that question.
I don't know what I think about it. I think that, there's probably something that exists, things that we don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
But what it is, I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
Yeah.
You look great today.
Oh, thank you.
You do. I love
That's
that
very
pink.
nice.
I do. I love that pink.
Yes.
And I love those glasses, too. They really show your eyes, Ivy. They look great.
Oh, thank you,
Anyhow,
Steve.
love you.
I love you.
All right, I've got one more phone call. We'll get Jack back on. We had a little difficulty with him earlier. We're going to get him on and let him close the show. How about that? Right here on Free Speech, Free for All Friday. right. Jack has been patient since our little malfunction earlier. Jack from Toledo, of course. Sir, how are you?
Hey there, Steve. Yeah, we need this SAVE Act really bad.
True.
When we're celebrating Tennessee going 9-0 and lamenting that the Northeast has no Republican representation, even though there's 40 or 45% Republican residents in those states.
Yeah.
They both have to be revised. And Article 4, Section 1 of the Constitution, everyone loves to read the first part where the times and places and manners of elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof. They don't read the second part, which says that, but the Congress may at any time, by law, make or alter such regulations.
That's right.
Now, I have lived all over the country. And in North Carolina, you have the city of High Point. The city of High Point is located in 3 different counties.
All right.
There are other places in Wisconsin and other places where I've lived where cities straddle county lines.
Sure.
And you get mixed representation when a city is not fully within a county. So I think that we take all of the bias out of this and we go and we say, we start at the neighborhood level. The person across the street from you should have the same state representative and
Generally,
U.S. representative.
and that's how it's supposed to work.
You do.
You're supposed to group communities together.
Then you go from subdivision up to school districts.
Sure.
So that everyone in the same subdivision
You
is
got to
in
group
the
them
same
together.
school district.
I got to leave it there, Jack, because we're out of time. But I agree with you. Let's do districting where you put. I mean, and that's what most places do, and that's what they're doing in Tennessee now. Actually, took race out of it. Anyhow, fight the good fight. Keep the faith. God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber. Remember, my friends, only you can save America.